다드네 어딘데 도만들이야 상황들이야 안에 삼지 지금 아주 딜이 삼지셔
First of all, I'd like to wish everyone good morning and welcome.
다 동마들이야 가상 되네 상계멜레기 숭아 영어레스 도스마 슈빈 유산에 현재 상계멜레기 숭아디 롱지 제나야 오면도 섬사서
Now, yesterday, as I mentioned, I asked you to recite the mantra of the Medicine Buddha, and so I thought it would be good to give the transmission of this mantra.
다제 디 남규 다데 자타버지 로토이메 하고문다 자타버지 시 다 남규가 저지 로데로 딘된다는데 마다 자타버지 자게 자타버지 된도이메 하고문도 이내다 간다 남규지 되네 예상 대다랑 토는 게티 도로마 되샤나스다
Now, of course, it would be best to recite this with proper pronunciation, but there's the way we always recite it. I don't know if I can recite it with the proper Sanskrit pronunciation, but I'll just recite it as we always do, and it'll probably be fine.
도시 괴란이 배적에 센서들 병으로 동화서 도순에서 상계민 미드리아에 라 자자로 다디 젠도 나왔지
Now, please repeat.
다디아타
Tadyatha,
옴 베칸제
Bekhanze,
베칸제
Bekhanze,
마하
Maha,
베칸제
Bekhanze,
라다 사무가데
Rajatsamukha,
소하
Swaha,
다디아타
Tadyatha,
옴
Om,
베칸제
Bekhanze,
베칸제
Bekhanze,
마하
Maha,
베칸제
Bekhanze,
라자
Raja,
사무가데
Samukha,
소하
Swaha,
다디아타
Tadyatha,
옴 베칸제 베칸제 마하 베칸제 라자 사무가데
Samukha,
소하 개원대 뉴르다 디시멜로 조이는 로아지게 말고 대사랑고 말아서 다메레기 숭린지요 디는 안아 로 조금도 세상 다 딩이야 유산 조금 숭 텔레징이죠
There's also a longer Dharani mantra of the Medicine Buddha, but I don't have that memorized, so we will not do that now.
구메구메세 구메사가 구메사 지세도와 다데레 다데 론dom도 다지베
This is a longer one that goes kume kume and so forth. That I don't have it memorized, so we don't need to do it now.
다 가상 권으시면 신기 에너지 초계 권이야 심계의 초계 권이야 심계의 초계 권이야 안다 노두지 슈아기 베즈슈이스
Now, as I mentioned yesterday, I will now try to give you a brief explanation of the subject of the bodhicitta ritual, the bodhisattva vow ritual.
다 가장 타게 나로래야 파원 잠베네 로베 루루니 말아기바 로베 시왈레 로다 파워 참바네 로베 토메네 말기바 조 실링 빌로다 니수 셰버 차오스제 다 들리지 정도다 텔레 트레베 소르치레.
And so this comes down from something I mentioned yesterday, or that is mentioned in the Ornament of the Precious Liberation. It says here, there is a Shantideva's tradition, the lineage passed down from the Arya Manjushri to Master Nagarjuna, and there is Master Serlingpa's tradition of the lineages passed down from Arya Maitreya to Master Asanga. And so I will take that as the starting point.
다디 보zul라 치메기 준주 제베 나로리아 에네디 마지 파원 잠베나 마 규베기 루데다 엔 파와 참바나 마 규베 루디니 보디기 초게 개발 노듀점시 송예베브레 딩에마 샴랴 슈초슈아이.
In Paotsula Trengwa's commentary on the Way of the Bodhisattva, he gives a brief description of the differences of these two traditions, the one that is passed down from Arya Manjushri and the one that is passed down from Arya Maitreya. And so I would like to explain that to you now.
다 잠베 양네마 로벨루르마 규데바 디기루 초가 텔레야 어느 저외치 dünya 담들이야 다 온로암 저외치 dü 다 저외치 dü인데 어느 쳐바체 잠루체 디버샤바체 되네 제수이라와체 총골규바체 양에미도 소안데바체제 근데 다 저외치 dünyam 저외초가 투스.
Now, in the tradition that comes from Manjushri through Nagarjuna, there are 7 preparatory aspects or dharmas. These are making offerings, going for refuge, confessing misdeeds, rejoicing, requesting the Buddhas to turn the wheel of Dharma, requesting them not to pass into nirvana. And so these are the 7 preparatory or the 6 aspects of the ritual.
무실이야. 아니 셈게가 돈바송니 니 무시체 나바니체.
And the actual ceremony has 2 parts. There is generating the resolve and there is taking the vow. These 2 parts.
너 제기 초갈래야. 안 다우용의 신对吧? 양면은 랑가와 고바의 신가와 고바. 다
And the concluding ritual has 2 parts, and you can either call these the inspiring oneself or celebrating oneself and others praising, or you can talk about it rejoicing for yourself and rejoicing for others. These are both the same.
어다 되게 파관 잠배는 막 규배기 다 초게 좀더 노두지
And so that explains the outline of the ritual that is passed down from the noble Manjushri.
다드네 지준 다 파와 참바는 막 규비 자와 참바는 막 규샤베기 다 룩초스면 디 룩초가 디 로단시는데 다 조르추 나바숨 저외추 나바숨 예베체 다 딜이야 소안데베체 초사바 아니 접수도와 제제 데 저외추 나바숨.
Now in the tradition that is passed down from Maitreya, the way the ritual works is that it begins with with 3 different preparatory dharmas. These are 탐보데.
아, 소환되면 소사와.
The first is supplicating, gathering the accumulation of merit, and going for refuge. These are the three preparatory dharmas.
다들 의식의 전주도 셈게와 의식 직만도 배우자. 다들은 제기 초가완 쉐위미나 아니 가와게바다 랍제주야바스. 엔 제기 최 넘버 2요데.
And for the actual practice, for the actual ceremony, there's only one aspect, which is arousing bodhicitta. For the concluding parts, there are two parts. There is rejoicing, and there is committing to uphold the precepts.
다들 멤버심게 초가, 멤버심게 초가, 디 고림저부터 들으시죠. 다들네 주버심게데 양 코란리아지 저외체 로가유디스.
And now that is for the ritual for developing the aspirational bodhicitta. For engaged bodhicitta, the actual preparatory dharmas are different.
다 죽돔 레베급리아 델리아 저외기 최 듄송도. 다디 리레이션 주모가 체제. 다지변한테 소환 대바사로다 다나 신기 튜모가 바르제티아 튜모면 인비 바르제티아 라소바다 되게 다 저외체 듄지도.
For the ceremony for engaged bodhicitta, there are 7 preparatory dharmas. These it's not necessary to mention each of them, but they are supplicating, asking about general impediments, asking about specific impediments, and so forth. And so those are some of the preparatory dharmas of the engaged bodhicitta ritual.
당위시디 전주선배 도말래야, 단 죽돔래야디, 지금도 가지 매브자.
The actual ceremony, or the actual main part of the ceremony, has only one part, which is rousing the attitude of engaged bodhicitta.
다 제기 처음 주셔리야 양지 최 넘버 5체제 양지 편윤대마다 랍지 죄발라 소바든 되기 다지 최 넘버 5치 정도 유스래.
The concluding ritual has 5 dharmas. These include going over the benefits, or teaching the benefits, committing to the precepts, and so forth. So there are 5 different aspects for the concluding ritual.
다 디기 간다 파바 참바네 마 유베게 민심 초게 렌주데다 아니지 전심에 도 말렌주 다 디기 도주시 다디 고림도 선한다도 좀도 되지 도주시 심이 주르시.
And so that is a brief description of the order, or you could say the framework, of the rituals for aspirational bodhicitta and for taking the bodhisattva vow from the tradition of Maitreya.
다이네 아직 규버 소소소소리야. 중세 창랭이 개발을 민저하던지 중세 뭐년으로 됐어 민저하면 중세 연리야래. 이미네 다다디 되네 보줄라 팀에 준주고 되봐.
Now, of course, there are many different slight variations within each of the traditions and within the rituals for each of the traditions. But this is describing that taking the description in Pao Tsutla Trengwa's commentary on the Way of the Bodhisattva as the basis.
지기 파반 잠배네 마 유샤베기 심게기 더지 가져야 마 유베기 엔 초가 대다 파바 참반네 마 유베기 초가 디닐이야 우마다 심점기 루스 제제 그러봐 아데 우마다 심점 루크체네 에네 아지 디니 베 가져야 타데는지 진짜지 진년지 우마다 심sam을 루시제 초가 타데도 초가 타데에서 된 타데 지 초가 타대 인바 정도 맞으면 지 퇴원 타대 인바 진짜 현행기 초지다 야 퇴원 타대 미시에 초지 아마 니 어디야.
Now, there are actually two different ways of describing this. There are those who say that the ritual that is from the lineage of Manjushri for developing bodhicitta, and the ritual that come from Maitreya are the rituals for the middle way and the mind-only traditions. And so so there are some scholars who explain them as being separate. They say that the mind-only and the middle way rituals are separate rituals. Not only are they separate rituals, they're also separate in actuality. So there are some who describe it this way, and then there are other scholars who also describe it other ways, and so describe them as not being separate. And so there are these two different explanations.
Tiendru lu niwu di uma de semzam lu cheje tade lu yewa chene dene tuanya tatebre shengengi shengendi da zo de cheje sabe da di jiandang de jeba di imra.
Now the primary scholars who are describe these two traditions as being middle way and mind only, and hold them to be separate ritual and separate in meaning. So the primary people who describe that as such are the Sakya Pandita and his followers.
Sakya Pandita chimbe zebe donsum rawiye nalo la ya. Tibe chimbe semgel uma semzam nambani. Tini dawa tadebe choga yani tade is this way.
Now, what he wrote in his exposition on the three vows is the vows of the Mahayana in the middle way and the mind-only tradition have different views, and they also have different rituals.
다드네 까마신다 다데 까마칠레바 니바 까마칠레바 니바 니 슈가라 다 베칸 로조 슈가레 도나 까마바 제미 미규도 지게다 응얼업 차데요레 공기 까마신다 사다 된주주베레 다디 동아기 다 동아기 지륜도 지베 차데요 다 동아기 지륜도 지베 onda di nalo le ya ane phaji Sakya Pandita chimbe gi da gongba ru cheje phaji ada di nalo le ya ore Sakya Pandita ge jimdo di nalo le ya ane usim gi lu su su de ji tön ta de ba yin ba ji ga zhe ni le chongme gi kyabar ye ba de ji se ba shu sha.
Now, in the Chariot of the Karmapas, this is a treatise written by the second Karma Chinle Rinpoche, or Pema Wangchuk, who was a disciple of the eighth Karmapa Mikya Dorje. In his treatise, the Chariot of the Karmapa, which is
Balkan translate Balkan Lozawa. Balkan Lozawa. The text composed by.
Okay, he mentions a text composed by Palkan Lotsao that describes the mind-only and middle way tradition as being separate in meaning, and as one as being superior to another. And there's a clear description of this tradition.
공기 가마신다나 가르스나 우심게 로게 에베 초가레아디 지게 가르스에베나 랑웨 유당 에너지 초가 렘바보당 다나실 레베 초가다 랍자다 다 치르죄라 서바 민자와 용고베 균선 가르스 공기 지시 균주산 공기 조 가르스나 우마바데 엔 따와 심sam발 되베이나 따와 상와레스 따와 상와체 엔 구양아레스 구양베 인자 디균셀 구양바다 탑르케바 디제기 균셀 체제 야 초가 디데지 가르에 지 고 양바세나다도 초가도 주세지 양바르지 드니 용데 아레스 ane simsambade umabal debeina ane dawa juseji taji membatan dagana singi yang dawa juse member inza di gyunzen den choya juse taji kutowe number shores ne bi indusane di gyunzen den energy usimi lo soson jongga gyunzen odi anda zodi sajin bide de sombe sumana singi ji 다와 토면당 다와 토면에 인자 디기 다나 신기 탑르케 마케 진짜게 관에 에네 저거소스로 충분히 인지체제 이래듯이 교샤
And so what it explains in the Chariot of the Karmas is that with the mind only in the middle way traditions, the differences in the ritual come from differences in the way the vow is taken, who is taking the vow, who is bestowing the vow, in the ritual, in the precepts. Now, the reasons why there are differences here is that in the middle way view, in comparison to the mind only, is a better view, a more profound view. Because it's better and more profound, then they have a somewhat more spacious, more relaxed attitude, a looser, a less strict ritual. The middle way, the mind-only view, in comparison to the middle way, is a slightly lower view, and because it is a slightly lower view, then the ritual is a bit more restrictive. It is a bit tighter and more strict. And so for this reason, and so thus this is the reason why there are differences between the mind only and the middle way rituals. And so this is basically similar to the Sakya Pandita's explanation that it's a differences in how high the view is. And because there are differences in how high the view are, then there are differences in how skillful they are in means, and therefore there have developed different rituals.
Tene chojin lhajik chojin dibam karaygi ane ta loben luru ni ma gyuba ta loben tome ni ma gyuba ti ji tateba meba pinju gombo tumba yimba nirdishi gyönyo bare karare sana kongi ta zo de loben luru ta loben tome ta loben shandi dewa de zugi ta meba samgi bi choge tsuyla tateba meji tumba ta 다나신 공기 제샤베기 다 멤버 심게 초가지요 그래 심게 초가 대양 바벌루르다 로변 토맥 니게 기타 루기 버르지 진짜 소여비입니다.
Now Atisha Dipankara did not accept or explained that the traditions that came from Nagarjuna and Maitreya are not the same, or are not separate, and that they have the same intent. And the reason for this is that he saw that the traditions that he received from Nagarjuna and from Asanga and from Serlinga are all fit together very nicely. And so he wrote a ritual for developing bodhicitta that is said to be a ritual for both the traditions of both Nagarjuna and of Asanga.
That jelama zonga chimbi ane ti changju shunglam ki nalo le ya aju di loben thome da loben luru da thome ni ge ji choga le chigi khebaru juse ye ma do be ane ji twengi kheba mes 다가는 신기 루틴이 라든 우마로도 심점 루세제 진짜게 다 가다 가르쳐 타니 따네 ane ji domba langwe yu dang, lembe choga dang, ane zedong diga di tunga maray xia di dakji maji be gija reche. Dide sung yobe mre.
Now, in his treatise, The Highway to Enlighten, or the instructions called the instructions called The Highway to Enlightenment by the great Tsongkhapa. Tsongkhapa describes that the two traditions of Asanga and Nagarjuna have slight differences in the words, but there is no difference at all in the meaning. And so to give these two traditions the names of the middle way and the mind only, and then say that they have different recipients, different rituals, different precepts, and so forth, is the talk of someone who has not analyzed them fully.
제종가 침비 공배는 신소르치 다디 가래서는 초갈래야 디니뷰기 초갈래야 되네 개봐요 말았어 내가 그냥지 뒤자 저바 뒤발라야 가요 올래야 나는 저바 뒤바체 가르쳐다지 우말로디 좀스 저바 뒤바를 치지 때 알았어 아니 장산에 손샤베 달로벤 토메 루스마르베 장산에 손시야바데 쩌발라 가웨 몰래야 에너지야 쿠란지 조르와당 무지당 제기 초게 개발 두마체네마 손샤바치레스 마도지 초게 뭐는 지기스 다지 초가 쿠란 어떤 시야베니 초 쿠란이 된 직번을지 되는 거와 매버지 드립지 소유자.
Now, what Palo Tsulak Trengwa said in his commentary on the Way of the Bodhisattva is similar to what Tsongkhapa said. He said that in actuality there is no difference in the rituals, but in the short term there are some disciples who prefer shorter things and less elaborate rituals. And so, for those who like the less elaborate, there is the middle way ritual, which is a bit simpler, a bit less elaborate. The tradition that comes from Asanga's bodhisattva levels is for those who like more elaborate, and so there are more of the preparatory rituals and so forth, and so in this way there are these slight differences, but the essences of these rituals are no different. And they all come down, and they both come down to the same meaning or the same point, and so there is no contradiction between them at all.
Dona di karswa ji simge chawalya dene ji da gyu da ji ma che da karswa da gyu bi chawalya lawa do ji kam samgi chawalya usimge lu 우슴 그 루베 타데도 민다데 데제 시라 뉴르 차래요. 가레사나 텔레야 가차요 아래서다. 우마베 루 섬섬베 루 세제 데게 에네 가서 민다비나 텔라 가셔요 아래서 텔라 가서 다지 냥가요 아래서 냥가 가려 아래서나 우슴 루 세제 거라 민다셔비미나 다 남경 알아서지 우마바사데 섬섬발 되빈 따와 초도 교배인 버르지가 아주 남균의 전의 여배인상 디균살 때네 양지 초갈을 개바 총매에 버르지 러신기 된지 거라지 초나로 들게 버렸어 섬섬을 초가서 디스 멤버들이 되지 우마로 초가서 디스 초도 교배인 버르지 된지 초나로 게 버렸어 즉 대래 겸진지 대래서 겸진지 대 가라서나 갸드네 샘잠베 아니 안지 로변 토메라서 되게 되지 샘잠바래 체제 되네 지게 마지 녀바치아담지 능중루다 통중다 된제게 녀가요 알았어 제가 된제게 가시 예비 인주산에 디균산에 되네 우멀로다 샘잠로 체제 된대기 민마다 시제 아니 사무도규로다 개진 야진 규규로 세제 신대 수수로 세제 도스 바다나 야보요 레스 세제 된대 순가래 제단 남규 마체 타니에르디 조디 다그 유초레 라바도 감사초리아 타니에르 마 베주다 마체르디 야진 규규의 사무도규로다 야진 규규로 세다마도 semzoluda umalusa shiraram bejume mewesopchi didade mijudo jige gambum nalolya semge chojare telya tinalolya tinsang umaluda semzolusu chagwas de sunare jeza chagwa sunjusan an paji jikashwe da tinsang de ji shedi ares sarjumado beya 베드 셰셰라 낭메베 소시드니도 제가 남규 배주당한데 사무도 유로도 야신 주규로 셰 대 배주당가 대 배주당한데 가신 총어예요 그렇지 드레스와
Now, in brief, in the rituals for rousing bodhicitta, among the kajus, and especially among our Karma content tradition, we don't really give them the names of the middle way tradition and the mind-only tradition. And there are a few different reasons for this. The main reason is that there's a problem with calling them the mind-only and the middle way rituals. The problem or the danger is that if we give them the names, the mind-only ritual, the middle way ritual, then because in relation to the mind-only, the middle way is a higher view, it's a better view. Therefore, people will think that there is a difference in one ritual being superior and the other being inferior. People will think that the mind-only ritual is an inferior ritual, and that the middle way ritual is a superior ritual. People will just naturally feel this. And so this is one problem. Now, another reason for not using this is that in general, the middle way, when we talk about the mind only, then this is the tradition that comes from Asanga, and it's called the mind only in a way to deprecate it, to denigrate it, to disregard it, to consider it less. There's a danger that we'll consider it less important. And so for that reason, within the Kajupa, we generally do not call these two rituals the mind-only and the middle way rituals. Instead, we call them the rituals that come from the traditions of the lineage of the profound view and the lineage of vast action. And so in this way, we call them by the names of the traditions. And so most Kagyu masters call them the lineage of vast action and the lineage of the profound view. And we do not use the terminology, the mind only and the middle way rituals. In the 8th Karmapa's collected works, there is a ritual for rousing bodhicitta, in which he says they are known as the mind only or in the middle way rituals. And so he's saying they're known as this. He's not accepting it. He's mentioning that they're known by that name, but not necessarily using it himself. And so for that reason, these days, most Kagyu masters use the terminology of calling them the ritual that comes from the lineage of the profound view and the ritual that comes from the lineage of vast action. And if we say this, there are fewer difficulties.
전담 전주기 쌤들 초계 수원 여다 메스. 단도나 초계 수원 여다 메스도 단다 전담 전주기 쌤들 초갈 때는 끼기 여다 메스 할때 까내를 지래.
Now, one difficult point that we need to consider is whether ultimate bodhicitta can be developed through a ritual. There are those who say that it can be developed through a ritual, and there are those who say that it cannot be developed through a ritual.
다다데 아주 벽이 쳐라 나왔어. 다 별이야지 쳐 규로 나는데 나셔도디 상기가 별이 규나 나셔디 아니 방공 자기 봤어야 돼.
Now, in the Tibetan tradition, there are some some texts that were dharma texts that were translated very early, and the earliest of these is the hundredfold amending and prostration.
I think better to say in Tibetan. Not 100. Di mara chageba.
So it's called in Tibetan Panton Chagyapa.
Da delia shesuru ji be ni yonde. Shesu ji ni yomar da. La todoro nyenzen gablia. La todoro nyenzen sa da di bögi zembu ugi la todoro nyenzen gi gablia. Nangwa de ma pawre sa ji gijo da di. Di banggo chageba sa nangwa de ma payo. 다리 직 드네지게 다치 지루야 자가르게 빈데다 가서 지지 키요네서 봐 빈데 소리디 다들 하고 있습니다 자가 빈데다 지 키요네서 사지요래 다 남네마 바위나한다 미키유나한다 개바면도 딱 한다 가이님이네 별이야 나슈는 차디요래 제사 벽이 전부 다 몰람들이 여러바다 집에는 줄라한테 신이 양 몰람 제샤바든지 여래 양지 어느다 마치 줄라한테 지지든지 몰람 제시도서 팀 몰람 치디서 동훈들이서 동훈이 녀샤바기 이거 망부도 와 뒤주 나로래야 치디도 상으로 빵권 차게 봐 찌부찌강인데 소리도 그래 연락 좀 받았어 치디도 마치 찌부찌강인데 소리도 제장만 관주지 자침으로 찍으면 로성도 돼. 잘못했어요. 제가 방공 차게 봤어야 되지 알아. 뒤 나로래야 전남 전주기 쌤 지 송아지 알다. 구습 전주기 쌤 송아체 전남 전주기 쌤 송아서 되지 알아.
Now, there are two different explanations about how this Pandon Chagyapa appeared in Tibet. It was during the time of the king Totori Nyensen, and the two explanations are: one is that it descended from the skies, from the heavens, and the other is that an Indian scholar, a lone Indian scholar, carried it to Tibet. Anyways, whether it descended from the heavens or whether it was carried by a scholar is not a big difference. But at the time of the Tibetan emperors, it was a very influential and very sacred, very influential text. In this text, it talks a lot about making aspirations to build temples.
No.
And
you like that? Not in the text. Because all these sort of Tibetan kings, they're using that when they're
okay, and so
if they build a monastery, they're using this.
And so when they would when the Tibetan kings would build temples, they would use this they would use this text, and they would mention this text.
Their aspiration.
In their aspiration prayers. Likewise, in the many manuscripts found in the Donghuang caves, there are quite a few that have passages that are just copied verbatim out of the Panton Chagyapa. In particular, the 7 branch prayers are literally the same as in the Panton Chagyapa. And so it's clear this is a text that was considered very sacred and very important at the time of the Tibetan Dharma kings. And so this Panton Chagyapa does mention ultimate bodhicitta. It describes both relative and ultimate bodhicitta.
다드네 조유 추중 야자사죠. 조유기지 제샤교게. 다지 최전으로 춘춘추들의 망보를 주루스 시작했죠. 팀의 최충중 다 최충중 야자사입니다. 최충중 망보를 루스. 디나로는 고블루루 이제샤베기 심게 쇼쇼래 어다 디나로래야 된담 전주 있음 숭하지 용디도
Now there are also the 100 short dharmas of Joatisha, and so these are many short texts that he wrote that were collected, and among them there is a ritual for a bodhicitta ritual from Nagarjuna that also has a ritual or has a section on ultimate bodhicitta.
다들이야 아는 거루를 라버도야 지 남낭wen장당 단 가르쳐야지 남낭wen장라 다지 유디오메 걸리네야 지 나와 도지 셈사도 게 여러바다 다외 기고 꾸주 전주 있으면 나와 냥 가가지고 네가 된다고 전주 있으면 도지 쟁하고 검지들지 나와 도지 셈 게하서 요래 그리고 유디오메 걸로 용디요래 한 유디 고메 걸로도 용디요래 다디 버지 도버럽시다요. 맞다디 유에데부터 용다를 차려요. 아 내가 용돼요.
Now, also in the older traditions, especially there are in the traditions of Vedochan and so forth, the tantras, in the lower classes of tantras, there is the practice of the bodhicitta as the moon and Vajra, and so there's the meditating upon the moon disk as relative bodhicitta, and then on top of that, a Vajra as ultimate bodhicitta. And so meditating upon the moon and Vajra for meditating on bodhicitta is a very common in the tantras and very well known.
다 요러든 도이네 걸어 봐. 도이 겁이야. 전담 전주 있음 사데 에너지 초갈 때는 끼그래 말해서 돼. 다들 끼그래 순에 로직다. 끼그 말해서니 들지 로직 이해해 봐.
Now, within the sutras, there are two different traditions. There is one tradition that says that ultimate bodhicitta can be aroused through a ritual, and another that says that it does not, that it cannot be.
끼그 말해서니 돼야 지주 사게 비리다 제란 제바 이브래.
Now, those who say that it does not arise through a ritual are the Sakya Pandita and his followers.
대한 도수라위 나로라 되는 된담심기 제차고 공배 떡기 게임기 초계권에 니미기스.
And so, in his exposition of the three vows, he says that ultimate bodhicitta arises through realization. It does not arise through a ritual.
다들 ngari benji bema wangi yebe zeche domsum namgeesta a주 상아 님에게다 domsum 게 시슈를 차대요. 디나로래 바지 된담 전주 sem사데 된담 전주 있음게 초계 거네 랑야요래 랑네 토그레사데 상아로 그랬어. 너의 걸로 딘디셔요 말았어. 디 담자점을 마도베기 된담 전주 있음게 사데 인지미지 다지 공배 더블 때는 개고로 마도베 초계 건토야요 말았지. 지소에 그래.
Now, in the most famous exposition about the three types of vows in the Nyingma tradition, which was written by the Ngari Panchen, he says that the rituals for developing ultimate bodhicitta are in the secret mantra tradition. They are not in the sutra tradition. In the sutra tradition, one makes the commitment, but one does not actually arouse ultimate bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta in the sutra tradition comes from meditation. It does not come from the ritual.
다 권도 쉬버디죠. 전답 전주 쌤 초계래 봐. 매벨루치. 다들은 전답 전주 쌤 초계 레버 예벨루데 다보름 지금 보면 나올래야. 초가 민주 전담 전주 초도 쌤게 받아 젤스제제. 리수요 아래. 제가 이제 간다 민주의 처가 예배 좀더 마세베 된담의 전주 섬께베 처가 예배지 동의입니다.
Now, what I was speaking about before are from the tradition of those who say that ultimate bodhicitta does not arise from a ritual. Now, in terms of the tradition of those who say that it does arise from a ritual, in the collected works of Gampopa, it is said that there is a ritual that is in connection with rousing aspirational engaged in ultimate bodhicitta. And so this implies that there is a way to arouse aspirational engaged and ultimate bodhicitta through a ritual.
Tene kunge bema kabyogi ta domsungi genje jare da domsungi jaba geba jare. Dina lo ya gombuluru gi semgebe chagale tendam kunzumda tendambe semge niga rimbashi lo langwa chawa sungba nanshi chego res cheje le sungyebre.
In Kunchen Pema Karpo's long treatment of the three types of vows, he says that in Nagarjuna's ritual for developing bodhicitta, it is said that we need to arouse both relative and ultimate bodhicitta, and so this implies that that we need to take both vows.
No. And deshindu, and she said, Quinja Nalolia. Karasun Arasana, Tendam Semge, the Tachidu Choge, give marriage, Kazun Juavam, Tajuandi, Drumindos. Gunzen Karasana, one she way easy, that's one said Goya, one she way easy. 这光是过来的，往西北一些的，这个点的几个多啊是。但那印度山呢，团他们身边的呀，巧克力点呢，见没这个军人没多啊是。往西北一些的，这咱们的接触呀呢，团他们身边的巧克力点没这个军人他们多啊是。可是呢，但军人如果的直接从别起的事情，但这些嘛，他说他这
In the Treasury of Knowledge by Jamgon Köntal Lodra Tai, he says that if you say that unilaterally that ultimate bodhicitta cannot arise from a ritual, if you say this or assert that it must not arise from a ritual, then that is not proper. The reason for this is that when we have the fourth empowerment, which is known as the word empowerment, during the fourth empowerment, there's the wisdom of the fourth empowerment that arises through the power of words. And it is if the wisdom of the fourth empowerment can arise from the words, then there is absolutely no reason why it could not also, why ultimate bodhicitta could not also arise through the power of the words. And so for this reason, if we accept that the fourth word empowerment can produce wisdom, then for that reason it's the same logic and the same illustrations and patterns apply for ultimate bodhicitta arising from a ritual. And so here he discusses it logically.
다다 방고차게벤 도시에 다디 야외가래 다데는 고물루르기 잡으래사기 데네 셈게 초가 제 데니버디 다 롱게 주제도 바지 데니베임자 다 리베 주제 다다 공도 쉬어난 신기 간다 리베 주제 장고로르 다이가 숨바 나 데라 소바다 리베 주제 예브레.
And so in the tradition that allows that ultimate bodhicitta can arise from the ritual, the source for this is, in the words of the Buddha, is the Panton Chagyapa, that early sutra. And also there is the ritual of bodhicitta, ritual for rousing bodhicitta by Nagarjuna. So these two are the scriptural proof that this can happen. There is also logical proof, and that is what I just mentioned, Jamgon Kontra Lodutai's description. And so in this way, there are both the scriptural and the logical proofs. Now at this point, I thought I'd like to tell a story. I'm not sure how connected it is, but there is a story or a history about this, and it involves Drukpa Kune.
Drukpa Kune de tingjilia 공부lia 친지다 공부사대 벽에 사지지로봐 공부lia 친에 영아 까마바 두바 셔라게스 군준이야 자가치 안 겁디두사는 셔라게스 군준이 사문난된다 롱스미게메 티디즈 슈 안 겁디두사는 최야 난 다는지 또괴디즈에 낭제네 최다 성신기 능지 야보총 겁디 야보총 다들에 겁질이야 최기다 제가 그래 룰링지 카도 질이야 안에 장 유버처라게 저기만 건지디 간패버스나 전담 심게를 초알을 되는 기거래다 말해 주제 건지만 나인두잖아 겁디두잖아 구종의 예배 대 종의 예배 공 til이야 예배 보 거주어서 보사의 사자치 거주어서 된 아주다 지雄心 가벼운 아세 줘 봐. 어때는 지지 가벼 줄이야. 로정现象啊. 근데 지금 근데들야 거주어서도 와. 보 거주어서 되기. 사케베 로라 안에 된담심기 초갈래 되는 게 말해. 라고도 나람 별로 가르쳐나 늘었다. 별로 쓰듯상 당 아주 나라도 라말로만 아주다. 심지 초갈 때는 깨슬라나 그래 마케슬라나 그래 사자변은 전담성이 초갈 때는 깨 이거 말했어도 알아서 다 가르람네 개바요 말레스 된데스 봐네 퓨버레스 가만 봐
So Drukpa Kune once went to the region of Kongpo, which is an area of Tibet. And when he went there, he met the 7th Karmapa Chodak Gyatso. And from Chodak Gyatso, he received instructions on the profound inner meaning as well as on the indivisibility of the winds and the minds. And so he made a dharmic connection, and also he was given some material things. And so there was both a dharma and a material connection that turned out well. Now, at one point, they were having a discussion, a dharma discussion, and so the 7th Karmapa, Chodak Gyatso, then asked, can ultimate bodhicitta be produced by a ritual or not? Now, at that point in the gathering there was also a scholar there called a scholar with mastery of the 10 texts. This means that he'd studied 10 different texts, so he was called a scholar with a mastery of the 10 texts. And this scholar said that in the tradition of the Sakya Pandita, it is said that it's impossible to
Sakya tradition.
In the Sakya tradition, it is said to be impossible to develop ultimate bodhicitta through a ritual. But in our texts, and no matter where we look, I think that you can say that it's okay or it's not okay. It doesn't really matter. And so in the Sakya tradition, it's said that it does not arise, but for us, it doesn't make a difference. You can give either answer.
고 게람 드리시다 매장 고디 수도아지 유서래 제가 고디 받아 상가 깊체 어다디 전담 심기디 초갈 되는 깨고라 신지민지 초갈 되는 깨고라스 대한배 초계 닝부 초가배 에센스 말도 즉 초계 남기배 닝부지 되는 깨고라스 당하나지 초가 신달래 전담 심기기 초가 차대배 깔라 카보야라스 디 초가도 가르스나 라메 질럽을 되는 깨고라스
At that point, Drupa Kune was there. He was sitting off to the side because actually he was not well known for being a scholar. And so he was sitting off to the side, but he started to he butt himself and he said, actually, ultimate bodhicitta must arise from a ritual. And it has to arise from the real essence, the really essential ritual. And this is a ritual unlike any others. So ultimate bodhicitta must arise from that ritual, and that ritual is the blessings of the Guru.
And chilab choga means labina, yang tabegi choga meva chandodes. Karesan gedognan, gebadojinan. Karesan kon gebadoz lord gorba. Gebadoz di kongi lunzin chebre. Droginik. Sedan gebadoz di ma lunji gyorimta. Shengi jumin linji ki kandu yani minide lame tudab dembata dag sonam leshe chaasadi yong changse da shengi judo mewe linji gebe yishi de ani shinda kan zene nyeg mares lame ge ma ji menga ji tudang lame ge da lama de ge tu sheba da da na shingi ji ma tab kembe ton ma dembata ji susu sonam sabala de shego And
at that point, Drupa Kune said that it has to arise, ultimate bodhicitta has to arise from the ritual, and if the blessings of the Lama are not a ritual, then it's not a proper ritual. And so as support for this, Drupa Kune cited a verse from the Hivajra Tantra. Drupa Kune had memorized the Hivajra Tantra, and so he cited this verse from the Hivajra Tantra, which said, the co-emergent wisdom that cannot be described, that is ineffable and cannot be described as anything else, does not arise from anywhere else. It arises from the instructions of the Guru and from the time and knowing the time and the skill and from the merit of the student. And so this means that the co-emergent wisdom of that is inexpressible and doesn't arise from anything else. It comes from receiving the instructions of the Guru, a Guru who knows the proper time, who is skilled in the methods, and also from the student having the proper merit. And it's on the basis of this that it can be realized. There is no other method. And so this is the citation that Drupa Kune then gave.
And Drupa Kune dando kare sumasana oda choga saadi and tibusi cha damaro to sada and be nga ding sad the jiso manas chogan den susan the choga sumaris turn samon goya de choga zigores de zimo yumsen 가려alles choga스도 가르스나 turn samot kan yimba de lembe 탑데라 아니 choga스 turn samot de turn kan yimba de lembe 탑리야 탑들이야 choga스 셈마도 다 choga스 망보 love 되나 아니 choga 심어로 찬로레스 간삼선데 choga 심어로 choga스 안 주고주서 매den게 찬로레스 데 제제 드리지 공수브레 제가 디 공고 디님들 드려 망고 송자 디선이 될이야 어디 루버군이 디기 빼저디 신경도 사지 종제는 선이네 디즈 콜이야 지가서 빼저 신경 대로지 지지 미상에 디즈 다 통디 쳇신 송스터 드리지 송샤
Drupa Kune also said at that point that a ritual does not mean that you're saying things with your mouths, that you're doing things or playing cymbals or music and so forth. what we need to understand, or what we should understand a ritual as meaning is as a way to develop an understanding of the profound meaning. So this means that a ritual is a method to understand or to adopt the profound meaning. And that is what we mean by a ritual. Otherwise, if we say that a ritual is, if that is not a ritual, and that it's only what is said and so forth, then we can't really, we won't be able to find a ritual anywhere that won't really exist. And so this is when Drupal Kunle said this on this occasion. Then after that, everyone started to look at him a little bit differently. They all started saying, "Oh, Drupal Kunle actually knows a little bit of philosophy." And so then they started to include him among all of the ranks of all the scholars and started to regard him more highly.
공기 수아들이야 가수의 후유 처부도 삼 정도. 가르에서나 아주 초가 되라 된기 초가지다. 쓰기 초가지 니 마샤라샤르지. 버지 자대도 삼도.
Now, I think that there is something really important to understand in what he's saying. And I think that the reason is that when we talk about a ritual, then we have to say that there are two types. There is the meaning ritual and there is the verbal ritual.
다데 베나 다는 유용자 거디 이제 가수에 전담심게 초갈되는 기가 말았어. 나두스탄에 아니 신다디기 군습 전주기 셈데 초갈된 기가 예배했었지. 아주 제대로 봐. 다이네 초가 넘버섬시기 마 지금 되네 직탑이 이노다 다 가리나 디즈만 넘버섬시기 군습 전주기 기가 민도 와대. 초가 넘버섬시기 군습 전주기 기가 말와.
And so this is something, as we normally usually say, we usually understand that ultimate bodhicitta doesn't just arise from a ritual. So if ultimate bodhicitta doesn't arise from ritual, then the question is, well, does relative bodhicitta arise from a ritual? But when we think about it, usually we think that it can, but just merely reciting the words of a ritual and saying this is the method, this is the ritual, just merely doing that does not make a relative bodhicitta arise.
제사 등기 전담 전주 섬게데 안 초갈 되는 기가 말에 공배 돌을 되는 기하고 레송으로 딘 덤바디 규르체 군주 전주 섬대야 안 초갈 되는 기가 말에 공배 돌을 되는 기가 돼서 오늘 지난 라고 하르시도 군주 전주 섬대야 로 장니 지 로정을 버티지 변하다 가서데 윤재명아도 이거는 로다 장고 연하다 다나시 다신 염지고는 로 장고 연하다 가르쳐내면 다 리베시도 로 장니 개용으로 마다 지금도 맞선시 개용을 말아 돼.
And so, this is like why it is said that ultimate bodhicitta does not arise from the ritual, that arises from meditation. It's just reciting the words doesn't produce it. But if we say this, then we also would have to say it's exactly the same for relative bodhicitta. That also arises through cultivation. It does not arise from merely reciting the words of a ritual. Relative bodhicitta means that we have to have trained our mind. We have to go through the stages, the mind training. We have to practice the seven pith instructions on cause and effect, the exchanging self and other, the equality of self and other, and so forth. And it's by doing that that we develop relative bodhicitta, not by just reciting words.
사바도 팅상 초가도 만 되샤 맞아. 초가도 바바바바서 만 되샤래. 다 마치에 초가도 가른 된데 아주 싫어 하고 말다. 가른 된데 가른 랍디 싫어 하고 말. 다 내들이 다 도배 몇바치 랍디스탄 다 가서다 내들이 베 버루도 하지 있는다 몇바치 랍디스탄 다 몇바치 셰체다지만 싫어 곱다 쳐고 말다. 아주 다 드링 두산 내들이 셰는다 갈아 하면서 삼창도. 드리지 고설라 마서라 드리지 나로라 에너지 domba thamdra je sem kunzu chenju sem gyasa kala khabishta ingire sam changdo.
Especially in these days, we recite a lot of Dharma, we recite a lot of rituals, but sometimes, I wonder, when we're reciting all the text and just mumbling the text along with the text, do we really understand what we are saying? I don't think we really know what we're saying. And then we recite all the text of the ritual, and then you say, imagine that you have done this, and we don't know, you haven't really made a connection, and you haven't understood the meaning, then how it's difficult for actually it to arise. And so in particular, if we recite all these rituals and we take the vows, but it's difficult for that actually to become relative bodhicitta.
Kadame gyeshini bodowegi. Karasonasana oma khongita khorang to domba shusidi ji khenlop ji gundu dem domba shuyor bata. Rabjung domba shu. Ngar khenlop gundu ne rabjung domba shu. Shubins. Ineda karshwe chisu da rodin liya ane di rom demba gyawen chune di jaga pyorwa khonlama dindusan rom demba di genyerwa ta ine domba ngoma khelo gu tsan domba ngoma thomindus chi ane rodin gi de gibu di zane samarwa ta ji genye gibu di zane domba ngone di di khorang ta ji rom dembe ji ma 직 최소한 유산 되게 오늘 전에 공리야 토리야다 베지 고알라 인중 개발지는 또 중재 근데 그 토안에 domba 오늘 디디게 되지 손도와 되로 되다 집어를 와 인중 수림사야 돼 인중 수림사야 돼 그 예버는 중어디 인중 사바 맞이나 인중 수림사야 요아요 라메 지 탑이 넣어서 잠시기 인중 수림자 개용만로 당 인중 수림사야데 양코라 지금에 지 명아질 댄지 특시질 댄 민중 인중 삼바 개야 특시 당시 매주 제제 하는 인중 개고래 인중 개베나 하는 지 수규 도마드 인중 수림도 도차 도래와 드린두산 디균센테네 다데 오늘 저녁에 토용 엄말래 인중 수림 계약 탑시 당하디 탑디 계약 계속 뒤 탑디 답에 된기 초가들이 샤고스라 섭섭스럽다.
And so the great Kadampa master Potoa, he first had an abbot from whom he took the monastic vows. He went forth and took the monastic vows. But what he said is that it wasn't until later when he met Drompa Jawajune, who was actually a layperson. It wasn't until he met him and received teachings from him that he actually developed the renunciation or the wish for emancipation and developed the true vows. So he really did not have the vows until later when he met Drone Tumpa in the, as he called him, the old layman from Rajang Monastery. And so it's when Drone Tumpa taught the Dharma, and then because of Drone Tumpa's teaching, he was able to develop an understanding. And at that point, he was actually able to really develop the true vow within his being. And at that point, he was able to practice the true discipline of longing for emancipation. And so before that, he hadn't had the true vows of going forth, the true ordination. Just merely saying, but merely saying this is the method and going through the ritual does not produce the discipline of wishing for liberation. That discipline of wishing for liberation depends upon the instructions. And through that, we have to work at the methods and make efforts at developing a wish for emancipation. And then only then, once we have that wish for emancipation, can we say that we have the discipline of the wish for emancipation. And so, in this respect, we have to say that this is like the actual ritual, the real that we develop in the actual meaning. If we actually develop the real wish for liberation, then that is what we have to present as the ritual, the actual ritual of taking the vow.
제자 된담 심게데 초갈 되는 게마게 될래야 제지 저바로 예대바 이말에 다 예비네야 말한지 다 된담 심게 안주야 될래야 개체지디 꾸줍 전적 있으면 초가 넘버 잡는 데는 깨투사르다 말해 땡아주지 삼동가디 개심을 또 성정도 나간다 꾸줍 전적 심사디 오늘 진행가 따지 계약 매주前 심규리아 꾸줍 전적 있으면 계약 특시 당제 근데 지금 뭐 로르지 마장나 누가 매버지 뭐지 아주 하고가데 개심을 또 삼정
And so this is, all this talk about the whether or not ultimate bodhicitta arises or not from a ritual. Well, there is the debate about this, but what's really actually more important for us than whether ultimate bodhicitta arises from a ritual is whether or not we, by merely reciting the words of the ritual, actually develop relative bodhicitta. We have to realize that in order to develop relative bodhicitta, we have to make efforts at it. We have to work at the methods to instill it within our beings, to train our minds. And if we do not train in our minds in relative bodhicitta, there's no way to develop it. And it is important that we understand this.
군주 전주에서 더가지 가쇼락쇼로 지리아 게야요 근데지 레라버지 이게 말아. 가래서는 니랑 다좀봐. 쟁아 운신아도 돼봐. 대주 군주 전주선 게알 디스 강에를 체려다. 고술이야 강에 체려. 당 어제 니랑 멤버십 같이 걸어다. 고수베 이 멤버십이래. 다이는 가서는 니랑기 니베요 말아. 니랑 다좀봐지기. 니베요 말아. 제사 뒤준세는 쟁아 운신아 된대봐. 대주 니랑 뒤주기 투규리야. 총가와지. 나서로 총야 갈라하고 맨저서 정도다 삼성. 제사 뒤준세는 지 가쇼락쇼를 질이야. 이제 라메그 탑이노 사르지. 나란도 디 탑이노 손은 나서 탑 레미도 받아. 디 탑이노 스드사네. 나도 디 탑디 그저 전주 쌤게 탑디 나서를 빠지 탑 처음 매매서지. 탑 많이 자로chen. 제가 뒤균센데네 아가도 뒤지 오늘 그저 전주 쌤사디 로장과야지다. 저 간다를 초진에 대순아래 초자치 뭐 마사나 쌤게 기르면서 들었어도 초바도 매가 사고스 근데 쌤게 기르면서 제가 초자치 뭐 사대버지 손은 봐도 매 유딩이 되지 고도 이 토라야도 별로 배시부지 장과야지 니랑 바바디 장미도야지 당 아주 장고스고 봐지 제산디 레라버지 자완이 렘도 배나 바바 셰리뷰로 유시가 셰리뷰로 셰리뷰 옹마데지 심게 전에 심게 효소로서 계시와 셰리부디 다 오늘 저녁에 상계 준비된 데가 딱 간다 베 로마 베 로메 투르 차려 시럽진기 쳐 차려래 디 오마지 콩을 깔아 가봐 차대야지 차리어 봐 구두 좀 섬사대 콩 깔아 가 강에 채대야지 세상 아주 레라버지 자원이네 이게 말했어 엄청도 세상 디균자들 아주 양 디지기 고란지 더가지 가져야 돼 진주 유차를 지진 진주 연하샤대 디지고 많이 봐 오늘 전에 연구도 못 삼동가에 개침도 삼정
The actual meaning of relative bodhicitta doesn't come just from, letting words slip through our lips and actually going through the motions of things. It's not that easy to develop. It's said that relative bodhicitta is difficult even for the listener and the Pratyeka Buddha arhats. They have difficulty to develop it. Now we're inferior to the arhats of the Shravaka and Pratyeka Buddha arhats. We're inferior to them, and they have the 5 eyes and the 5 clairvoyances, and even they have difficulties. And if so, what they are unable, if they with their clairvoyant powers are unable to develop it, then are we going to be able to just do it by going through the motions of and reciting the words? And then if we say, this is the method at the end of the ritual, then we repeat and we say that the Lama says, this is the method, and we say, this is the method. But actually, that method really isn't the method. We haven't gone through the method. Just going through the motions is not the method of developing relative bodhicitta. In order to develop relative bodhicitta, we have to train our minds. It's said that we have to have an incredible and untold accumulation, a gathering of the accumulations, and without this relative bodhicitta will not arise. And so you have to have the infinite gather an infinite amount of merit, otherwise there's no chance. And so for that reason, we have to train our minds. If we don't train our minds, then how is it that something that the great Shravaka and Pratyeka Buddha Arhats have been unable to train themselves, we'll be able to learn just by going through the motions? It's like Shariputra. There's the story about how Shariputra lost his bodhicitta. Actually, Shariputra is one of the greatest of the Buddha's disciples. He was the foremost of the Buddha's student. He was known as the one with the greatest wisdom. And yet it was difficult for him to develop relative bodhicitta. And so if it's difficult for someone like that, how can it be easy for us? It's not at all easy for us. It's not okay for us we shouldn't just think that it's okay and everything's going to work out. We actually have to look at ourselves. It's important to look at ourselves and see, is it working or not?
배전을 시험입니다. 아주 배전지 용화를 가지 용화라 qarni geji 시험입니다. 아주 남게 이 소소 남상계바 지 남상계베 진주서 말에 남바를 진섬 텐데요. 티베천보 인섬 텐데요. 상아도지 티고바 인섬 텐데요. 인슬라 저라 수인슬라 남바인라라 남베나는 수인라라 티베천보 나네 때는 상아도지 티와 인슬라 걸와 다 이내야 지 계시지 좋아지 리비나 좋아베 좋아지 가르베 좋아 가르 답 데뷔 좋아 대한 양디 멍시기 좋아르지 시제기 좋아르지 되는 질람입니다. 다디 시제 좋아디 가르잖아. 배나다 저랑 미상버지 인베스 TV나 다 미디지 뭐네드네 가르라다 지 렌젤이 이제 연계 렌젤이 이제 연계 지딘 양타 지딘 비 양타에 다와 요된게 근데 지 미지 인베라 데즈 갈라 하고 하면서 미상버지 인베스라 데즈 사무디스 다나 마도 지 람사 데 렌캡 좀 나와 미상버지 인베스라 남바 인베스 인데 인 사제 티와치 인베스 인데 인 사제 상아도 템바 인베스 인데 인 사제라 다 미상버지 인베스도 사 렌젤이 이제 미상버지 어다디 참참지 참참지 양 다다라 메게 드립시오 내가 이내야 남바지 이만 가서 타쳐 잘다 이내야 되려야 디스 간단도 지딘바 미 상부지 차마도는 남바 상게바 쳐바 차 깔라카보로 봐 디난 디고 첨부지 차 깔라카보로 봐 제산 디균선 때네 아주 참참한지 인샤샤를 지지 봐. 윤진 니로 윤진 삼시다 마다체. 다 인샤샤를 지지 로데라. 다 이내야 딩원에들이 뭐 니수 돌아 들려라 버지요. 아주 남게 변지 세메시서 잠바 세미니서가 다데가 할아야케 만 미신다 니지를 위해는 미 심진데 미카시야 심진데 동해어들 통도 미수 당치도 와. 송아주도 미들 니지 쉬도 대가 할래요스 니지리 치료발라 니지 여러와서 니지 세메 여러와서 가라할래요 여러서 드시로 이내 아타티 갈라카보도 수술에 매와 수술이야 니지 세메지 요거는 갈라카보도 제가 지 람사 지 미신달 지 가르에다 람사 디 레라버레 디 가르에 지 개마레셀라 깔라카부도 제가 디 균전데네 다 랑레베 지 고마고체 수수수수려야지 인지게도 맞소네 investigation som다 수수 딱제 비체시 랑게 규수를 따 냠네 제과디 계십니다.
Here's for an example of it, an example in terms of our experience, usually we consider ourselves Buddhists. You were going to say, are you a Buddhist? You say, yes, I'm a Buddhist. We think that we're a Mahayana. I say, I'm Mahayana. I'm a secret mantra practitioner. You say, of course, yes, I am. If someone asks you, are you a Buddhist? Of course, I'm a Buddhist. And so I'm a Buddhist. And among the Buddhists, I'm Mahayana. Among the Mahayana, I'm secret mantra Vajrayana. We say this. But here there's a question, and actually it's a very simple question, a very easy question, a very simple question. So here's the question. Are you a good person? Do you believe in karmic cause and effect? Do you believe in the correct worldly view? And we sort of have to squirm a little bit.
Moral.
Do you have a correct, a good moral view? And at that point we have to think about it a bit, and we think, well, sometimes I am, but sometimes it's hard to do that. So we say, are you a Buddhist? Of course I'm a Buddhist. Are you Mahayana? Of course I'm a Mahayana. Are you a secret mantra practitioner? Of course I'm a secret mantra Vajra practitioner. But are you a good moral person? Do you believe in karmic cause and effect? It's like sometimes yeah and sometimes not. But for Buddhists, it's like, yes, of course I'm a Buddhist. This is kind of strange. If you aren't a good person, if you aren't a good moral person, then it's difficult to really be a Buddhist practitioner, and even more difficult to be a Mahayana practitioner. But we just sort of normally assume that we are. Without really knowing the nature of things, we just make the assumption that we are. But in actuality, it's not so easy. Like we always talk about how we should meditate upon the four immeasurables and love and compassion. We talk about this, and then if you see someone who's out there who has seen someone in a desperate situation, is maybe crying out of compassion for that person, then a Buddhist will often say, oh, yeah, even non-Buddhists can feel compassion. It's not that. There's nothing special about that. There's nothing amazing about that. Even non-Buddhists can feel compassion. And yet it's difficult to feel that amount of compassion. This is some compassion that they don't even, that they are unable to feel themselves. And when they see someone else experiencing such a compassion, they say, oh, that's easy, there's nothing to it. But it's important here that we don't fool ourselves. We must not fool ourselves, we must investigate our beings. And it is important that we look to see what is really the level of practice in our beings.
ninjiliya ninji saadi pa kacho kharsoe daduje di dana singi xianla ninji gyawala ngela rangla ninji gyar kecho shais rani dongela thande loge azu nam yungin jongda ninji saadi ka pagor zugor gebares ne songdo ka simje shinda gona ninji chares ka su rani gwabi ne ngenju chares 가르에서나 당분간에 소소르니 코에 동해기 너즈르지 삼로 땅마시에나 동해기 너즈르 삼로 땅네 뇽아치게 모두 소소소 지금 인지를 깨체 근데 지금 탄도역이 배 심쇼를 지다 로르지 매비나 심제 신달디 랑글룰레 배롱라 사죠르다 소소를 din지 뇽아자네 매비질이야 심진 신달 din지 뇽아디 깨셔 인사는 갈아가고 싶죠 소소녜라야 타나지 수수라야 다치 드니지 용화를 지게베 토네 아니 신의 디기 용화디 백업을 비체제 링데네 심진 신달이야 어떤 아주 상마 지금 수수르니 지 동해기는 준제레샤 드니지 내단으로 드리지레샤 딜레 타나 찌머로냐 버르 드리지 여베체 아다 심진 신달도 저 대는 신 알아는 신 기고는지 동해 민정기 대완동이 내다는 지고 차려야 돼. 그래서 디균제 때문에 네 나라라 지 가서 좋아 개번은 신기 지 인지 개번은 신기 심진 현래야 되도 인지지 게 르고 삼바르지 되지 고 좋아를 끼워 봐. 그래서 디균제 때문에 근데 누구야 계속 또
So we need to think about compassion for others. Actually, in order to feel compassion for others, we first have to feel compassion for ourselves. We have to realize that we first of all we have to realize that we experience suffering. We have to have the wish for liberation. We have to understand, often we talk about compassion and the wish for liberation as being the opposite sides of the same coin. If you're looking out, then it's compassion. If you're looking in, then it is the wish for liberation. And the reason for this is that in order to feel compassion, we first have to understand how we are stricken by the sufferings of samsara. We have to develop the wish to free ourselves from those suffering of samsara. Only once we have an experience of that, a feeling for that for ourselves, can we understand how it is for others. As it is said for others, take your own body as an example to meditate upon the compassion for others. If we do not have any experience of that wish for liberation for ourselves, then how can we feel that for anyone else? And so at the very least, we need to begin with developing an experience of our own suffering and a wish for liberation for ourselves. And then we need to realize that it is similar for other sentient beings. Once we have a knowledge of the situation of suffering that we find ourselves in and the wish to liberate ourselves, then we can see that other sentient beings are also the same in wanting to be free of that suffering and wanting to be liberated from that. And then we will know the nature of their wanting to be free from that. And so at that point, we will be able to develop the compassion, or we'll have that compassion that is based upon our own feeling for other sentient beings. And so that is how we need to develop compassion for others. And so it is important to understand this point. And so that is enough for this morning. There's no need to go along too much further about it, so we will end here this morning.